welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always, here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go for a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. And in this midweek episode, we're going to be going over the Rate My Dungeon, and we're going to be going over one of the later dungeons in World of Warcraft, or World of Warcraft Classic at the very least. Maraudon. I always get it mixed up at the first time of saying it. Maraudon. Now, Maraudon's something. It has a maximum of 9 bosses, 8 of these being in the actual instance itself, the 9th being a rare spawn that can occur. The layout of the dungeon is where it gets complicated. So, it's tough to think about, but think of a... I can't actually think of what I wanted to describe it as. Think of a triangle. You've got 3 different points. Okay, you've got obviously the top, bottom left, bottom right. The instance itself is these 3 points. The tips of the triangle are where the entrances are. I say entrances, there's 2 entrances at the bottom of the triangle. You go to the middle and then you go to the north of the triangle, the top. That is where the final boss is. But the only thing is, you can't necessarily do that because the bosses that in the triangle, you have to go to the middle and then go into the other wing of it. So you start in the bottom left of this triangle, you go to the middle, and you can go straight up to the top to the last boss, but you miss out on a few bosses, essentially. So you want to go down to the bottom right and then backtrack on yourself and then go back up to the top. So that's the best way that I can do to describe it, really. But that's kind of the layout that it has. The amount of mobs that are in there, for trash-wise, like trash mobs and bosses, the boss is a really good number. Trash mobs, there is loads. There is a shit ton. You can get so much XP from this dungeon, hence why it was actually used as a boosting tool back in Classic. People would just stand at an entrance and a mage would boost them for a 15 gold per run, stuff like that. It's absolutely ludicrous how many mobs there are in this instance and how long it just takes you to run through it. As a mage, I did boosting in Maraudon as a mage, and it takes you 10, 15 minutes maybe to gather everything up, to kill them and stuff like that. It isn't any small feat, and that's, probably 8 to 10 minutes just gathering all of the mobs and running back to kill them in a very good place so that the people that you're boosting get the XP. It's absolutely insane how that works. But yeah, it's kind of complicated to newer players, but that's the simplest that I can put it, is that it is a triangle, essentially. Is the key any good? It's meh. There's a couple pieces that are really, really good. So there's a chess piece from a rare boss, which is very good for, I believe it's melees, stuff like rogues and etc. There is maybe 1 or 2 caster pieces that are also very good. The only thing that you get isn't actually in the dungeon itself, but from a quest for the dungeon to kill Princess. And this is Thrashblade. This is one of your best weapons that you can get for endgame in vanilla, besides raid gear, obviously, or stuff like warriors, rogues, etc. So it's not necessarily part of the dungeon, but it kind of is at the same time. It's one of them things. Has it had a revamp? Yes, it has. And the revamp makes sense. They split it into 3 different wings. They split it into the 3 triangle, wings. I was thinking rings in my head. I don't know why. Wings. And essentially you've got the bottom left triangle is 1 dungeon, bottom right part of the triangle is 2nd, and then the middle, the top, is the 3rd dungeon. Now, obviously, they all range in different level ranges, but they all have very similar sort of bosses and stuff. Although in Classic, you'd start going in there at about level 42, and the end boss would be level 48, 50, something like that. It was kind of a big jump, and you didn't necessarily get that much XP to, make the boss doable. If you're all going in there at level 42, that boss will take you a while to kill. And it's not like it's a simple boss. There's a lot of AoE damage, so the healer has to be on top of it. It's very tough. It's very tough. If you're on the lower end of the classic version, at least. But what would I rate it? Mara, as it's known as short, is a certain type of dungeon. It's one of the bigger dungeons. Kind of like a mega dungeon, like in retail today. It's very much a mega dungeon. For the layout, classic-wise, and for the amount of mobs that are in there, I've only got to give it a 5. 5 out of 10, mainly purely on the fact that there is a shit ton of trash mobs, like loads. It's unreal. The layout itself is not as good as it can be. Maybe you could do like an off branch, but there's a passageway through to get to like the final bosses, because going back on yourself isn't fun. You're having to go down one sort of alleyway, but you just got to go back because it's a dead end essentially when you get there, apart from if you just want to run out of the instance and sort of do it all again. But yeah, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. I can't give it much more than that. I can't give it much less. It's just, it is what it is kind of thing. But yeah, Mara's not bad. It's certainly worth a go. All of the dungeons are worth a go, because this is, once again, just my personal opinion based on the dungeons. But thank you all very much for listening, as always. Check out the Patreon for ad-free content, as well as the Twitch stream and YouTube channel. Constant stuff happening over there. Thank you very much, and go with Valor, friend. Goodbye all.